If you offer an HRA and you offer a health insurance plan, you have 3 employees, and Joe takes both the health insurance and gets reimbursement under the HRA, you don't have to report him because he was in the plan. If Sue takes the health insurance and has no contributions in the HRA, no issue. If the final one, Sally takes it, and Sally gets contributions under the HRA but never enrolled in the health plan. Some employers provide an HRA which allows employees to cover their own costs any way they have them. In that case, you would have to fill out this form for that person and list their information here. I don't think that's going to apply to very many people, but I did want to make sure that we covered it. So I'm going to jump back to the PowerPoint right now and just briefly go through. So we talked about Part 1. This is the information about Part 2, just the information about what each line stands for. We just covered information here you have on on Part 3 that shows the HRA rule. And final thing about Part 3 that I want to mention is that if you have 2 spouses both working for you and they're both on the plan, you only have to complete, if it's a self-insured plan again, you don't have to worry about this if you're fully insured, but if you're self-insured and both employees are on the plan, just fill out one form for the one who's getting the deduction out of their paycheck for the plan, and the other person, the other spouse will be listed as a dependent. You don't have to fill out 2 forms. If you have non-employees who are on your plan, this would include retirees, board members, and etc., you will have to fill out this form for them, or you could use 1094B. So if that's the case, if you have some, then I don't want to spend much time in this because this is going to be too many people. If you have questions, please email me afterwards, and I'll help you, try to help answer questions you have for those non-employees you may have on your plan.
Russ, can we stop for a couple of questions before you go on?
Sure.
So just to go back and reiterate, it's only employers of 50 or more employees that are completing this form. Is that correct?
So I'm going to give a more detailed answer than that. If for the months of January through December of 2014, you averaged 50 or more full-time plus full-time equivalent employees, then you were what's called an applicable large employer for 2015, and you have to fill out these forms. So if you average 50 or more employees for all months in 2014, then you have to fill out the forms for 2015, which you filed in 2016.
Okay. And you're completing a form for all your full-time employees, or only all your full-time employees who have been offered insurance?
All your full-time employees.
Okay. And if there's an employee who starts mid-year and does not become eligible for insurance that year, they'll still get a form, and there'll just be a code that they'll fill out that says that they were not eligible at that time.
Okay. So here's one of those exceptions. Suppose you have a 90-day waiting period, and you hire someone on November 15th. You do not have to complete a form for them. From my perspective, I think when I look at all this information, I think there's only so many rules I want to remember before when I'm filling these out. And that's an exception. That's one of the things. So technically that is correct. If somebody you hire is full-time but is not eligible to participate until until 2016, then you do not have to fill out a form for them. I myself would rather fill out a form to remove any doubt, but you don't have to. Any other questions?
I think that's it for this right now.
Okay, thanks. So I want to talk about an approach to filling out the forms and what information you would need and how you would go through doing it. So first thing is, I think you probably need some type of payroll report for all pay periods during 2014 and 2015. It would include all this information: employee name, social security number, date of hire, hours worked, pay received, health contribution deducted from them. So you have all that information for 2014 and 2015. If you're non-calendar year, you have to add in 2013 as well.
So in terms of the additional year, we're saying that employers for us that have 12-month measurement periods for non-calendar year plans, they're going to have to pull 3 years worth of data. That's where 2013 comes in.
That's correct, because
Okay.
let's say the plan renews on June 1st.
Yeah.
For January through May of 2015, people were eligible based upon a measurement period that began in 2013 and ended in 2014. So you'd have to be able to determine if somebody who wasn't enrolled in your health insurance during those first 5 months of 2015 was in fact offered insurance back in open enrollment in 2014. To determine that, you'd have to look at the hours they worked in 12-month measurement period starting in 2013 and going through 2014. So you'd need information back to that so you can actually identify who had an offer of insurance. Now, if you just have everybody's full-time and everyone's part-time, everyone either works more than 30 or less than 30 and nothing ever changes, then you don't have to worry about it, because you know. If you say, geez, I have 300 employees and there's only these 7 over here that I have to worry about, then those are the only ones you have to dig back far enough to make sure you're right on. But if you have many people with variable hour schedules, then you will have to go through and grab all this information.
Okay, thank you.
Second thing, no problem. The second thing is, we mentioned before, you need to know for every month during 2015 what was the employee contribution each month for the lowest cost individual plan that was available to them. And you also need the demographic information about the employee's name, address, all that stuff so that you can get that information. And finally, you want the 2014 W-2s for all employees. And that information, you also want some way that you can reference that back and forth to your other files, because you may have somebody who did not enroll in your insurance, and they maybe got a premium tax credit from the state. You want to be able to show that you have the W-2 safe harbor available to them if possible. We'll talk more about that, but you need this information just to get started with pulling your information together. Once you have that information,